طيب في البداية أنا حابب أشكركم جميعا كإخوة أعزاء على حضوركم وتواجدكم معنا في هذا المساء الطيب. أنا اسمي نيكولا عطا من شركة ميديا كاست، إحنا الموزع المعتمد والحصري لتكنولوجيا بلاك ماجيك ديزاين في الشرق الأوسط. تمام؟ فأنا بالبداية بدي أشكر جميع ضيوفنا الموجودين والإخوة الأعزاء اللي هم موجودين معنا اليوم في أول حدث رسمي تقيمه شركة بلاك ماجيك ديزاين المملكة العزيزة، مملكتنا المملكة العربية السعودية. إن شاء الله اليوم رح نتكلم خلال المسؤولية المباركة هذه عن جميع منتجات وتكنولوجيا بلاك ماجيك ديزاين لجميع الأشخاص من مختلف نطاقات العمل وخلفياتهم. راح نتكلم، أنا متأكد هون يمكن في عندنا عدد جيد من الأشخاص اللي بيشتغلوا في مجال التصوير السينمائي، في الأشخاص اللي بيشتغلوا في مجال تصوير الأفلام الوثائقية، مهندسي البث، الاشخاص المعدين اللي يشتغلوا في مجال الاي والفي الاوديو فيديو بشكل عام، وكمان الاشخاص اللي بيشتغلوا في مجال الانتاج الاعلامي الحديث، الهواة منهم والمحترفين. فمره ثانيه مشكورين كلكم على الوقت اللي عم تعطونا اياه، وجودكم معنا، وهذا شيء بشرفنا جميعا. الله يخليك. هلا في شكر خاص للاخ رائد المزيد. الله يخليك. هو طبعا رائد بيمثل شركه كان فورسيل اللي هي راعي للحدث اللي بيصير عندنا ان شاء الله اليوم. وكلنا بنعرف انه شركه كان فورسيل هي شركه سعوديه تاسست في العام 2007، وهي هلا بتعمل في السوق السعودي كاحد الموزعين المعتمدين اللي لتكنولوجيا بلاك ماجيك ديزاين. ومش بس لتكنولوجيا بلاك ماجيك ديزاين، هم كمان يشتغلوا في مجال تزويد هواة التصوير والمحترفين باكثر من 50 براند عالمي. طبعا احنا بنفتخر بالشراكه مع كان فورسيل، وتمام الثقه موجوده عندهم كاشخاص قادرين ومؤهلين لزود السوق السعودي والسوق الاقليمي كمان بالتكنولوجيا اللي بيحتاجها الافراد. حيكون برنامجنا الليلي بكل بساطه، حنحكي بالبدايه حيكون في عندنا فيديو ترحيبي من روب ووترز، حيرحب بالجميع، جميع الضيوف الاعزاء. طبعا روب ووترز هو مدير مبيعات الاقليمي للشرق الاوسط واوروبا في بلاك ماجيك ديزاين. ما قدر يتواجد معنا اليوم المساء، فعملنا فكره انه نصور فيديو صغير ويكون كانه موجود معنا. حتكون الخطوه الثانيه حنتكلم لمحه عن كاميرات بلاك ماجيك والتكنولوجيا الموجوده في الكاميرات، وين بنستخدمها، شو التكنولوجيا، مبدأها، وكيف احنا ممكن نستغلها في حياتنا وفي اعمالنا. بعدين ان شاء الله حنتوقف عند الاداء صلاه المغرب. بعدين على طول حنتكلم عن تجربة رائعة لشخص رائع، سعود الخميس. فين سعود؟ سعود نعرف سعود؟ هي سعود مشغول شوي بعد. تمام. بعد ما نسمع لتجربة سعود الفريدة الخاصة، رح نشوف نبذة عن برنامج دافنشي. كلنا يمكن نعرف برنامج دافنشي، واحد البرامج المشهورة جدا في مجال تعديل الألوان والإيديتينج. حناخذ لمحة عنه، نفهم خصائصه، ونعرف شو في شغلات جديدة بالإديشن الجديد اللي طلعت من فترة. بعدها بإذن الله بنتوقف لأداء صلاة العشاء جميعا، وبننتقل بعدها بنتحدث عن جزء مهم جدا، هي تكنولوجيا بلاك ماجيك ديزاين، الايتم سويتشرز، الريكوردرز. ولخص كلامي موجودة كلها هناك عندنا في الفلايت كيس اللي موجود. حنشوف مبدأها، ايش الأجهزة، ايش الكومبوننتس، كل جهاز بضم أجهزة وين نستعمله ولو ايش تستعمل. تمام؟ حنشوف ديمو حقيقي، حنستعمل الأجهزة، فرجيكم البرفورمانس تبعها، أدائها، وآخر فترة هي أهم فقرة أنا دائما بعتبرها اللي هي الأسئلة والأجوبة. أي واحد فيكم يا إخواننا ما يتردد، أي سؤال عنده يسأل، إحنا موجودين علشان نقدر نجاوب الأسئلة هذه كاملة ونعطي فكرة أوسع عن البلاك ماجيك ديزاين. تمام؟ هلا في شغلة حاب أنوه لها، يمكن جزء من الناس بيعرفها وجزء ما بيعرفها. كبلاك ماجيك ديزاين هي براند ابتدت في استراليا من تقريبا عن 16-17 سنه. كل شيء يتم تصنيعه في مصانع بلاك ماجيك الخاص. موظفين بلاك ماجيك هم موظفين دوام كامل يشتغلون مركز الابحاث والتصنيع والتسويق، وكل شيء يتم تحت مظله بلاك ماجيك ديزاين بتكنولوجيا استراليا. هذا شيء ان يدل على النوعيه الجيده. وتتميز بلاك ماجيك كلنا بنعرف باسعار مناسبه للجميع. ما عندنا حكر معين انه التكنولوجيا تكون لفئه من الناس، بالعكس التكنولوجيا حتكون لجميع الاشخاص في مختلف المجالات. في شغله كثير بسيطه حابب نوه عليها بسرعه، انه كان فور سيل في عندهم ويب سايت او موقع الكتروني رائد في مجال بيع الاكويبمنتس والادوات لجميع المحترفين وهواة التصوير والاوديو والفيديو. فاهلا وسهلا بالجميع. هلا حقدم زميلي لورنس حيبلش معنا ان شاء الله اول نبذه عن الكاميرات عن بلاك ماجيك شوي. لورنس.
Yeah.
Can start.
All right. Thank you, Nicola.
Anytime.
All right. So, good afternoon, Riyadh. Good afternoon. So it's my first time in Riyadh. You know, it's like Dubai. It's the same weather. I was expecting something warmer, but it's fine. But this is out of context. But I love the weather better. You know, in Dubai, if I walk outside, I'll be sweating like mad, man. But now I'm okay. I walked, you know, a good walk this morning, but I'm okay, and I'm here. So my name is Lawrence. I'm a product specialist for MediaCast. We are based in Dubai, and you might have seen me during CABSA, during exhibition, or maybe you've seen a YouTube video of me talking. Yeah, that's me. So that's my contact address. That's my Skype ID. So today we will be talking about technology. All right. So I hope we have nice food right here, but you know, I would want you to really feel relaxed. This is let's make it informal. Let's not be too tight about this, and let's enjoy. So yeah, again, my name is Lawrence, and I'm a broadcast engineer by profession. So the first 7 years of my life, I've been working with, guess what? Analog systems, and that was like 12 years ago. And now it's digital. Things are a lot easier. Things are a lot, easier. And you know, there are a lot of changes. Every day, things are changing. All right, and for today, we'll be talking about different products. First off will be the cameras. And just like what Rob said, feel free to play with our cameras. It's right here. And even if after the show, our friends from Camfercell, right, and his friends will be able to, they have a demo unit, so you can just go to their shop and play with the cameras. And then I will try to answer why Blackmagic cameras, all right? Can I ask, any photographer in the house? Photographer. Okay, videographer? All right, editor? Oh, you're everything. All right. So okay. So I think we'll be talking the same language for the next hour. So yeah, why Blackmagic camera? Who uses them? And I would like to invite you to join us. And if you have a Blackmagic camera, you can show us your gear in our Facebook page with over almost 1 million fans already. Oh, 500,000 fans. So before I proceed, I would like you to know that I'm also a hobbyist. I'm also a hobbyist photographer, especially during winter. And I keep my photos before I only keep them in hard drives, post them in Facebook. But now I found a new place to put them. So I'm a member of UPIC, and also a member of 500px. So yeah, you can see my work out there. And for Dubai visitors, you're familiar with this, right? So yeah, that's who am I. And now I want you to meet the family. First up, my favorite, or at least everybody's favorite, pocket cinema camera. So I would like to pass this around so you guys can play with it. Yeah. That is the pocket cinema camera, and there's a small HD monitor. There's a high resolution HD monitor that's connected via Magic Arm. And just a few highlights. I won't go into the technical details. We can talk during breaks about technical details. But I want you to know that this camera records on an SD card, SDXC, and it uses MFT mount for the lens. All right, again, why MFT? MFT is the most adaptable lens mount out there. If you're using an EF lens, you just have to buy an adapter, MFT to EF. Same thing with PL or whatever lens mount that you're using. Question is, how do you use it, right? So here are some setup suggestions. First off, handheld, right? It's a pocket camera, it's a small camera. It's something that you can just, walk by a mall and, when you're on a travel and no one will notice that you're handling a cinema camera, correct? Because it's a small form factor. You can put it on a shoulder rig, all right? And you can also have a stabilizer. And if you have a tripod, put a matte box on it, and then you have a pocket cinema camera, a pure cinema camera, and you can just bring your tripod and just, go somewhere interesting. Next up would be unfortunately we don't have a lens right now, but we can switch this later on. This is our cinema cameras. Any Blackmagic users right now? Blackmagic users, all right? So yeah, this is a 4K cinema camera. Again, I'll be passing this around if you just want to have a look at it and play with it. That's a 4K true cinema camera, and it comes with an MFT, EF, or PL mount. All right, and again, that's how tough it is. Okay, it's really built for toughness. You can. Someone asked me, is this just a wheel or a tire just put on top of it, or there's a car in it? There's a car in it, okay? So that's how tough that guy is. Now, how do you, when you buy the camera, the question always is, who doesn't like free stuff? Who doesn't like free items? Okay, when you get that camera, by the way, I'm not a salesman, okay? So you might think I'm doing sales pitch here. No, I'm trying to just make sense out of things. But when you get this camera, you'll get a waveform monitoring, which is about $500 in cost. All right? And of course, the ever famous DaVinci Resolve. Okay? DaVinci Resolve license. DaVinci Resolve as a software is an editing and color grading tool. All right, and that's another $1,000 in value. So when you buy a $2,000 camera, technically you're getting $1,500 free stuff, and then you're getting the camera for $500. And that's about it. And again, how do you set it up? Use a slider. All right, for videographers, photographers out there, I know that you're familiar with these brands. From Edelkrone, from Gremsy, from Gyromatic. Those sliders, it's all supported. And who said who cannot put that on a drone? So, there are drones from DJI or FreeFly or Aeronavix. That, again, is, these companies are creating rigs for the camera. And underwater, you can use it underwater. These companies are creating, from Nauticam and Equinox housings, they are creating a rig for the Blackmagic camera. So, and these are not small companies, by the way, as you know. And of course, you can just put it on a tripod and then have an EVF. We have an electronic viewfinder from these companies, or have a shoulder rig, again, from those companies. And you can have a shoulder mount, again, that company, and again, a matte box, follow focus, tripod from these companies. And as you notice, it's not just Blackmagic. There's an ecosystem of different brands that lets you make your experience with the Blackmagic even better. Ursa. Have you seen Ursa before? Yeah, it's plugged in right now. I cannot pull it out, but during breaks, feel free to look at it. So Ursa is our, it's our top of the line camera for Blackmagic design. And easily you can say that this is the world's first upgradable sensor and mount. All right? You get a camera, you buy a body of a camera, And then Blackmagic Design gives you the ability to, to upgrade the sensor and its mount. Any Ursa user? Ursa users? All right, probably later, huh? So,
Saud there is using it.
oh, Saud. Yeah. So for the family of Ursa, there are four flavors. All right, you have a 4.6K EF and PL, and a 4K EF and PL. Now, I just want you to know that the 4.6 versions are not out yet. It'll be out soon, very soon. So Ryan will be having his own camera, right? so he'll probably have it, and you can test it. Now, 4.6K. Now, 4.6K, again, the effective resolution that you're talking about, that you're looking at right here, is a 4680 by 2592 pixels. All right? And for 4K, that's 4000 by 2160. That's the resolution that you will be working on for Ursa. And I don't know, when you look at it, it's really designed for production. Why? Because of course, for a production team, for example, like them, or if you're shooting film, you'll be looking. If you're using that, immediately you have a 10-inch viewfinder. Yeah, you can see it right there, and you have two built-in recorders. You don't need an external recorder, and you have professional audio recording. The preamps, there's a built-in preamp for that camera. You have built-in microphones, all right? You have scopes. You know, when you look at the side of it, you'll see some scopes that you can monitor. And there are dual status screens. Again, I'll be showing that to you a lot later on, and more.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir.
Only built-in storage?
There's no built-in storage. It records on CFast. Yeah, it's CFast cards. And this camera, I can say, or we can say that it comes with a revolutionary design. Right? Why? The camera itself is made from super strong aluminum alloy, not magnesium alloy. All right? Just so you know, difference between magnesium and aluminum alloy. So the very best thing to talk about that is its durability. All right? Our typical SLR, I'm an SLR user, don't get me wrong, I'm an SLR user. But our SLRs are made with a magnesium alloy. And why? Because, you want the SLR to be lighter. But if you're shooting video, you're looking for stability. That's why when you carry it, it's a little heavy. And that talks about its durability and its stability. There's a built-in liquid cooling system. Imagine this, when you shoot with your phone outside, record the video for 5 minutes, and then it will be very hot, right? Same with the camera. A camera with a strong processing power will also get hot, will get warm. And that liquid cooling system, which is built in to the camera, will be able to help. And yeah, to answer your question, that camera is recording on CFast SATA 3 CFast recorders. It's pretty quick. You're looking at around 450 megabytes per second of recording. And again, it's a totally future-proof camera. Why did I say that? Oh, you'll learn later. But that's a totally future-proof camera right there. Now, there are two types of mounts, like I told you. There's an EF and PL mount. The question is, if I buy a PL lens today, and someone just gave me a set of EF from Canon, Canon lens, what should I do? Should I call Ride again and buy the EF? Or Ride will be happy, yeah? He'll be or we will be happy. But, again, yeah, I don't understand Arabic, but I think that's the answer. It's an upgradable sensor mount. It's an upgradable sensor and lens mount. Right now, it's not out yet, but soon, okay, you'll be able to buy a lens mount and a sensor with it. But how easy it is? Do you have to bring your Ursa camera to Ride and Ride send that to us? No, you can do it yourselves. It's as simple as removing the 4 screws in front and then unplugging the assembly and then bring it back again. That's how easy it is. Again, this is the world's first upgradable sensor and mount camera right there. Another cool feature is this. You'll be working at a frame rate of up to 80 frames per second on 4K. Or, if you're doing a windowed frame or a full HD, you'll be looking at around 150 frames per second. Not bad, right? I mean, that's amazing. And just, again, for your reference, somebody asked me a while ago, because he thought that Ursa is only 30 frames per second. Now, if you purchase Ursa, say last year, now Blackmagic is so active in creating or developing the firmware of the camera, and the firmware update is free. All you have to do is plug your system to the USB, to your computer, and then upgrade it. Now, if you bought a camera last year or 2 years ago, then update it, and then you'll get this 80 frames per second. Any questions so far? Yes, sir.
New products.
Yes, we will be talking about new products later on. That's exciting. That will be exciting. And who would not see the viewfinder? With this large 10-inch viewfinder, you will never lose it. Okay? And, you know, when you imagine this, when you put this on a tripod, when this is on a tripod, all right, you have the screen here. Remember what I told you about the dual screen? Yeah. So you have a screen here, you have another, you know, I'll just, yeah, you have a screen here. It's a touchscreen display as well. And you have another screen here, all right, which is another display if you want to, all right? And you have your audio monitoring. And if you work on the display function, you'll see that you can get a histogram and the audio for the audio metering. So that's how versatile the system is. Again, for me, honestly, I mean, I'm a technical person as well. I would encourage you to try it out. You know, the guys from Campers for Sale, they have demo units. Try it out. You know, I want you to somehow, don't believe in me. Come on, try it for yourself, and then put it in Facebook, Instagram, tag us. Tell us what you think, and I think that's the best practice. That's the best way to really appreciate the camera. And again, like what I said, there are dual advanced touchscreen interface. Again, the camera is in the camera. And when was the last time that I've heard a lot of people using other cameras that they're on the field and then suddenly they need a cable, but they cannot find that cable. Good thing with Ursa, they're using industry standard connections. You have your BNC, you have your XLR, you have your 4-pin XLR for power. That's industry standard. I have it, it's always in my bag because you'll never know when you're gonna need it. And if ever you don't have it, you can just easily buy that because again, it's an industry standard connection. And this is where we become too technical. So we'll talk about technical things about the camera. So before we move on, I would like to know, do you have any questions? All right, so let's proceed. So why choose Blackmagic design? Yes, sir. Ursa Mini, we'll talk about Ursa Mini later on, but it's not out yet. But I'm equally excited. Yes. I would really, my dream really is to have, to talk to people. A while ago, I was talking to him. He's busy. But yeah, I was talking to him, and you know, we were talking about 4K and how things are working on how to shoot 4K. And that's how I learn, you know, when you talk to people. I don't know if you guys are Instagram followers of Cam4Cell. Any Instagram followers? I think I've followed some of you because I've seen your work. It's nice, it's amazing, and that's how I learn. You know, I go to people that, you know, that is as bright as you are. So yeah, why choose Blackmagic design cameras? Reason number one, amazing dynamic range. Any one of you know what dynamic range is? Yes, sir.
Yes, I know. It's about the details between the shadow and the highlight.
Correct. That's perfect. It's basically, dynamic range is to put it simply, it's the range between your shadows to your highlights, or from the whitest part of your image to the darkest part of your image. And just so you know, again, the higher the dynamic range, the better. That's always any Canon 5D user. Yeah, that's my dream camera as well. Canon 5D. What's the dynamic range of 5D? Just 12 stops. If you are in ISO 200, right? Yeah. So yeah, 12 stops. If you're in ISO 200, that's the maximum. Now it shoots video. Yeah, it's fine. It's nice. It revolutionized the whole camera industry. But what we're trying to offer here is the dynamic range of our cameras. That little baby out there packs up 13 stops of dynamic range. All right, with a native ISO of 800. And you have 13 stops for cinema cameras, 2.5K. Yeah, by the way, I forgot that. There are two cinema camera versions, the 2.5K and the 4K. The 2.5K is 13, the 4K camera is 12. Now if you go along the Ursa, the 4K Ursa, that's 12 stops, and the 4.6K Ursa and Ursa Mini is 15 stops. If we go to those big boys of, say, somebody asked me a while ago again, what about red? Are you selling red? No, we don't. We're selling orange, you know, Blackmagic design. Don't sell red. But what I'm trying to say is, if you look at, let's say, Epic Dragon.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw a fan here. So Epic Dragon, you're looking at 18. But the price, all right? So that's something that you have to pay. So yeah, just to give you, a comparison for things that we know, so that we'll get a good sense of our dynamic range. Now, this is the typical DSLR shot. Okay, it's nice, it's dramatic. You have sunset or sunrise or sunset. Yeah, there's a sun and sea and rocks. All right, that's a typical DSLR shot. When you took a video of it, you'll get that. It's okay, right? Yeah, we're talking about professionals here. I love it. Yes, I love it. Yes, you lose some of the highlights. Now, if you shoot with a Blackmagic camera, this is an ungraded shot, you'll notice that you still have details on your shadows and your highlights. I was talking to my wife this morning, and I tried to practice this. And yeah, my wife is listening right now. We're online, so hi, wifey. so yeah, it's about the details. And it's a nice feeling that I'm talking to fellow video guys here that understands details. That's important. And having an ungraded shot from Blackmagic camera, that goes a long way. And later on, I'll be showing you some tricks in DaVinci Resolve, which you can, when you get home, you can practice it because you can download it for free. Not the crack version. Yeah, there's a free version of it then that you can play with. Number 2, ability to shoot raw. I mean a true raw. All right? And we call it cinema, we're using Cinema DNG. This means you'll have more image control over your video. All right. For editors, you might be using the three-way color correction of your NLE, or if you're any DaVinci Resolve user, probably later tonight. Oh, okay, we'll be. No. So, yeah, we'll have. So basically, just to put it simply, RAW is the image that you get straight out of your sensor, without all the adjustments. Let's dive into it. What really is RAW? Why are we talking about RAW? Here's the thing. I want to show you the difference between RAW and a compressed H.264 from our DSLR cameras. All right? Let's start with compressed. All right? For compressed, let's say you see an image of a tree. Okay? That's nice. That tree is sent to our sensor. All right? And then the sensor reads it, and then it applies, all those algorithms, the Bayering, and then A to D sampling. Now that goes to converted to a Bayer pattern. And of course, you have to apply tons of corrections. White balance, saturation, sharpness, contrast. And that's what you pay for, right? A Canon 5D will have a good, sharp images because of its internal processing, correct? Because of its compression. And speaking of compression, once all of that is set, you compress it. And that compression leads to a beautiful picture. All right? A very good balance of your saturation, of your highlights, of your shadows, and proper saturation of colors. And that's also saved to your memory cards. Agree? So that's compressed. Now, what is RAW? Where's RAW here? So if we're going to remove all of them, it follows. So if we're going to remove all of them, what you see, or what your sensor sees, then that's what you're going to see. That gives you a lot of room to improve your image on your own. You don't let your camera decide for you. You decide for the image. Yes, I see some faces. It takes a lot of work. But sir, are you shooting RAW or JPEG?
RAW and JPEG.
See? We're used to it. We're coloring a frame, or we're color correcting a frame of images for photos. So for video, that's the same thing. Number 3, ProRes codecs. Okay? For ProRes codecs, anyone here familiar with ProRes? All right. So ProRes is a codec. All right? It's a format of a file. Now, by far, this is the most flexible editing codec. H.264 is a codec, but it's not an editing codec. It's an export codec. It's a playback codec. All right? It's nice. I mean, it's nice. It's the quality is huge. The quality is great, but the size is small. But ProRes is developed by Apple for Final Cut. Yeah. All right. So yeah, our cameras can record ProRes. And there are different flavors too. You have ProRes 444, ProRes 422, ProRes LT, ProRes HQ, ProRes Proxy. So those are supported with our cameras. Number 4, our cameras comes with high color bit depth. All right. So I remember when I was still using a Nikon D40, and when you edit it, or when you edit a JPEG in Lightroom, what happens? You'll see color banding, right? Yeah. And it's annoying that you set your camera in JPEG mode. It happened to me last week. And that's because of low color bit depth. Now, our cameras uses 12-bit color, which means, imagine this, you'll be working with 68.7 billion colors in combination. That's how good it is. And when you refer that to your video or to your photo, you're looking at a properly distributed waves or bands, or there's no color banding involved in it. And again, the higher the bit rate, the better your image is. And last thing before we go on a break, and this is somehow important, that the cost versus performance of the camera. Okay? I remember yesterday, right, told me, no, it's not cheap. Don't use the word cheap. It's not cheap. But we're looking at cost versus performance of the camera. Now, I would like to quote someone. He said, my big thing is, if you don't have money, it doesn't mean to say your brain is turned off or you don't have the ambition. From my point of view, you want to move up. You want to do great things. If you want to do that, you should be able to buy products that let you do that. That's how you get rid of class structure. I'm trying to remove it and just let people be creative. And it's crazy, you know. You want to buy something, but it's too expensive. You go for something that's lower in price. Now that's not the case with Blackmagic Design. And the guy who said this is Grant Petty, the owner of Blackmagic Design. And that's we, as ambassadors here of the product, that's what we represent. That's what we say. The quality, the cost versus performance of the product. Imagine that, $1,000 cinema camera that looks like a point and shoot, yeah. But, you know, look at the performance. Look at the images that you record to it versus something else. Again, I would like to emphasize that I'm not trying to ask you to sell your Canon 5D to me at a lower price. But if you can, yeah. You don't, I'm not asking you to throw that away. But if you want to expand your portfolio and start looking at being creative in terms of video, then this is what we offer. Again, I encourage you to visit Riot Shop, Camp for Sale, and they have all the demo units out there. And recent movies shot using Blackmagic cameras. I'm getting fat. Okay, recent movies shot using Blackmagic cameras. Number 1, Avengers. And again, as you know, that is shot using Arri, that's shot using Red. Yeah, you know, most TV, oops, no, not yet. Most film outfits uses more than one camera brand. Even a Canon 5D might be used there. So, but what we're saying is, in Avengers, a Blackmagic camera was there. In Kingsman, the Secret Service, Blackmagic camera was there. And recently released Mad Max, that was shown in Cannes Film Festival, it was shot with Blackmagic camera. So, you've seen these movies, right? Probably except Mad Max, because it's not out yet. But yeah, you're looking at these Hollywood outfits that use Blackmagic Design. So, you know, why not us? Any questions before we go on a break? Yes, sir?
What's the difference between ProRes and RAW?
Okay, a ProRes is a compressed image. All right, it's like setting your camera to a high quality JPEG. Right? RAW is still a RAW. JPEG or ProRes is still you can consider that as a compressed codec. Yeah, because there's compression in it.
422 or 420?
422 and 444. Yes, sir.
I would like to ask about the low light shooting.
Okay. Yeah, we also discussed that a while ago. Yes. I'll be very honest with it. Low light condition may not be that, appealing because of limitation in ISO. We're looking at around 1600 ISO. And yeah, that's something that I'm sure the Blackmagic engineers are still working on right now.
السلام عليكم جميعا. هلا بالحلوين. اليوم راح أتكلم طبعا قبل لا أبدأ في المقدمة، يعني يشرفني ويسعدني حضور الوالد اللي علمني التصوير. أتمنى تحيونه جميعا. معكم سعود الخميس، مدير إعلام الجديد في جامعة الملك سعود، مصور رسمي للبنك السعودي الفرنسي، منتج رسومات ومؤثرات بصرية لقناة MBC. أول سلايد طبعا فيه تزبيد شوي وتكلمنا فيه أنا وعمرو العماري، طبعا موزع إضاءة. كثير من الناس اللي جاي من الفوتوغرافي وجاي للفيديو على طول يتكلم كيف الايزو في الكاميرا، عشان غصب يصور في إضاءة مظلمة ويخلي الإضاءة ويخلي الكاميرا هي اللي تصنع الإضاءة، وهذا الأمر غير صحيح. المفهوم والعرف واللي معروف انك تسوي الإضاءة ثم تشغل الكاميرا وتزين إعداداتها على الإضاءة الموجودة. ما في شيء اسمه اني بصور بدون إضاءة واخلي الكاميرا بالايزو تجيب إضاءة، واذا شفنا الكواليتي سيء قلت والله الكاميرا سيئة. انت اللي فاهم غلط، فبالتالي لازم نصحح هذا المفهوم، لانه هو زبدة موضوع اليوم واللي بتكلم عنه. وبرجع الوراء بما اني بديت مصور فوتوغرافي، برجع الوراء انا كيف فكرت ودخلت الفيديو، وكيف اصلا انا مفهومي يوم دخلت التصوير الفوتوغرافي وتحولت للتصوير المرئي. شيء طبيعي انك صورت بالGPG وصورت بالرو وشفت الفرق بينهم. جاني نفس التفكير، هل ممكن انا بالفيديو اسوي بالفيديو زي ما اسوي بالصورة الرو الخام، من خلال اني اتحكم بامور كثيرة. طبعا الGPG اللي نعرفه انها صيغة مضغوطة وعشان يقلل الحجم، وايضا ما تقدر تتحكم بكل بيانات الصورة، فبالتالي بتكون محدود في التعديل. بينما الرو تجيك كامل تفاصيل الصورة ويمديك تعدل كل بياناتها وتتحكم بهذه البيانات المعروضة، واكيد انتم كلكم تعرفونها. شوف الفرق بين الرو قبل التعديل في الصورة اللي فوق وبعد التعديل، والGPG قبل التعديل وبعد التعديل، يعني فرق خارق. يعني مجرد انك تشوف الالوان يعني خلاص انت مصور بالGPG اذا انت معك كاميرا فوتوغرافية. وهذه الاشياء اللي نقدر نغيرها في الصورة الفوتوغرافية. طبعا نقدر نغير في التوازن الابيض اذا بعد التصوير، يعني نغير اوضاع الصورة، وايضا نقدر نغير التعريض، ونقدر نغير التباين والاضاءة المرتفعة والظل واللون الابيض واللون الاسود والحدة والالوان. كل هذه نقدر نغيرها بصورة فوتوغرافية رو خام. وهذا نفس التفكير اللي جاني يوم جيت تحولت للفيديو، قلت هل ممكن إن إمكانية أني أقدر أغير كل هذه البيانات وبنفس الجودة، يعني اللي في راسي أبي أغير في الفيديو في الصورة الحين أقدر أغيرها في الفيديو. وهذا اللي خلاني طبعا أدخل في عالم البلاك ماجيك الرو. طبعا كثير من الناس بيسأل عنده 5D DSLR أو الكاميرات الجديدة الميرورلس والى اخره، وبيسأل وش الفرق بينها وبين البلاك ماجيك. ميزة البلاك ماجيك، طبعا انا يوم اشتريها كنت فقط ابغى اتعلم، يعني لانها سعرها معقول، ويعني ما تقارن بالسعر بالريد والهذه، يعني هذيك بقيمة سيارة تقريبا. فقلت يلا خليني اشوف الرو في الفيديو، هل فعلا بتحكم ببيانات الفيديو زي ما بتحكم بالصورة على ايام الفوتوغرافي. الحين بنشوف في شيئين في الفيديو عشان نوصل لمرحلة انك تتحكم بالفيديو زي ما انت تتحكم بالصورة ايام ما كنت فوتوغرافي بالرو. شيئين لازم تعرفها. طبعا انا ما داخل في التفاصيل والرموز التقنية وكذا عشان ما تخاف، لأن الموضوع سهل، بس أنت عليك تفهم عشان تطبق. في عندك شيئين اللي هو ستايل بيكتشر بروفايل، اللي يعطيك بيانات أكثر في الصورة عشان تعدلها بعدين بنشرحها. وفي الفيديو كودك اللي تكلم فيها قبل شوي اللي هي بروريز وطقتها، وبجانب الرو. الستايل الخام، طبعا ستايل الخام في كاميرات كثير فيها ستايلات جوا الكاميرا، حتى لو تشوف يعني في الفيفيد والاشياء هذه، بس لكن ال 5 دي وغيرها ما تلقى فيه ستايل خام، لكن يمديك انت تسويه، وحتى اذا سويته ما راح يكون بجودة اذا كانت الكاميرا مدعومة بالبيكتشر بروفايل فلات، زي مثلا على سبيل المثال كاميرا دي اس ال ار نيكون 750 فيها بيكتشر بروفايل فلات وجميل، لكن يبقى فلات على كودك ضعيف ما راح توصل النتيجة زي إذا صورت برو أو صورت بكودك قوي زي بروريز 422 ولا 444 وإلى آخره. الشيء الآخر، شوفوا الستايل الخام. طبعا واضحة عندكم الصورة صح؟ ولا بروجيكتور مسبب مشكلة؟ أبى أوريكم الفرق في البيكتشر بروفايل. طبعا هذه ألوان مي طبيعية اللي انتم تشوفونها، ودايم اللي يشوف الكاميرا فيها بيكتشر بروفايل فلات بيقول وش في الألوان رمادية أو مايلة للبيج. السبب يعود إن الكاميرا الحين قاعدة تشوف التفاصيل كلها واضحة، ما في شيء محروق، ما في شيء زايد عن الثاني، فهي كانها تقول لك يلا صور عشان بعد التصوير تراك بتعدل صح. يعني هي بالمختصر كذا كانها تقول لك كذا. لو نلاحظ هنا الظل، تدرجات الظل كلها صحيحة، يعني لأن الأسود مخفف بشكل كبير لأنك بتعدل على اللون الأسود. هنا الإضاءات المرتفعة في الأماكن الضيقة، لو تلاحظ التفاصيل اللي على الطاقة هنا كلها موجودة، ما في شيء محروق أو بيضيع عليك بعد التصوير. وأيضا وهذا أهم نقطة، الفرق بين الدي اس ال ار وبين كاميرات بلاك ماجيك والكاميرات السينمائية. مثلا لو أنا الحين أصور وراي طاقة، ورا الطاقة في عمارة أو فيه مسرح أي شيء، اللي ورا القزازة هذا يمديك تشوفه وبشكل واضح، لأن كاميرات الدي اس ال ار ما تجيب هذه التفاصيل كلها. أيضا بمساعدة البيكتشر بروفايل فلات، لكن لنفترض أنك جبت كاميرا دي اس ال ار فيها بيكتشر بروفايل فلات وجبت مثلا بلاك ماجيك، الدي اس ال ار ما راح تجيب لك التفاصيل اللي ورا حتى لو انه البيكتشر بروفايل فلات. فبالتالي شوفوا الهايلايت هنا عندكم هنا 5 دي مارك 3 والاف اس 100 والجي اتش 2 والبلاك ماجيك. شوفوا الهايلايت كيف عالي في الكاميرات هذه كلها، فبالتالي بنستنتج ان في مناطق اللي فيها الاضاءة مرتفعة كلها محروقة ما فيها بيانات. ولو شفتوا في المثال اللي قبل طاقة فيها تفاصيل، بال5 دي ما راح تشوف هذه التفاصيل. ولنفترض انك خففت الاضاءة عشان تبين هذه التفاصيل، اذا رفعت الاضاءة مع التعديل بيطلع النويز ضروري يعني. وفي عندكم مثال آخر، شوفوا هنا البلاك ماجيك هذه نفس الحكاية، طاقة وراها إضاءات، شوفوا اللي وراء واضح جدا، وأيضا الأماكن اللي فيها هايلايت عالي واضح ما سبب مشكلة، كأنه في مشكلة في الصورة. لكن هنا بال5 دي مارك 3 على طول طلعت لنا الهايلايت. وحتى أعيد وأزيد، إذا أن قللنا الإضاءة عشان تختفي هذه الموجة من النور اللي مخربة الصورة، إذا رفعتها بعدين مع التعديل بيطلع لك نفس النتيجة. وهنا هذا فرق ترى شاسع، يعني هذا بتحس فيه إذا لنفترض خذيت كاميرا بلاك ماجيك وصورت فيها ووقت التعديل يعني بتعرف هذا الكلام كله. عندك الفيديو كده يعني قلناها كلها اللي هي البروريز يعني الحين في كودك مضغوطة لكنها تعطيك بيانات من التعديل زي بروريز 422 444، لكن طبعا الرو يظل الحالة لنا الحين. ولو نلاحظ الفرق بين البروريز والرو، لاحظوا هنا الرو، التفاصيل اللي هنا عند البكسلات هنا ما في ألوان ملخبطة. الإضاءة صحيحة وهنا الإضاءة صحيحة، لكن هنا طبعا في البروجيكتور ما راح توضح. هنا بتلقى زي اللون الزهري أو الألوان المتلخبطة هنا في الحواف. هنا أعتقد أنها واضحة. فهنا الفرق يعني في الإمكانيات بين الرو وبين بروريز، سواء كان قوي أو ضعيف. وش استفدنا من هالمعلومات الحين؟ استفدتوا شيء؟ لا صدق استفدتوا شيء؟ طيب وش استفدت؟ كل يقول أكيد وما استفدت شيء. لكن أنا اللي أبي أوصله لكم الحين، أنت إذا شريت بلاك ماجيك تراك أنت انتقلت فئة جديدة في التصوير، تصوير الفيديو عموما، فئة جديدة مختلفة عن الدي اس ال ار، وأيضا مهام جديدة. لكن هذه المهام جديدة تخليك تفهم الصورة صح وتخليك تطلع صورة صح. يعني ما في سالفة والله أنا عجبتني شكل الصورة يلا خلنا نصدر وأكيد بتعجب الناس. لا، المفروض أنت تعرف إذا جيت تصور وعدلت الفيديو حقك تعرف أنت وش قاعد تسوي، أنت وش عدلت هنا وليش هنا حطيت إضاءة وليش ما حطيت إضاءة، وبنجي لها بالتفصيل الحين. اللي استفدناه أولا إنه وش كنا نسوي قبل. طبعا يعني نسبة كبيرة من الشباب السعوديين كانوا فوتوغرافيين زي وتحولوا فيديو، لكن يتعاملون مع الفيديو كأنه يتعامل مع كاميرا فوتوغرافية، وهذا أمر خاطئ جدا. يعني لا في الإعدادات ولا في الإضاءة، في كل شيء ترى مختلف. فجينا سوينا زي الفوتوغرافي، أهم شيء يرفع الايزو بدون إضاءة وقص كم مقطع وصدر ويلا جبنا فيديو حلو بس عشان في عزل. وهذا الأمر خاطئ وللأسف، وهذا خلانا نشوف أمثلة يعني في اليوتيوب كثيرة فيها أخطاء كبيرة في التصوير، وللأسف تحصل فوق اسمه مخرج أو مصور. وهذا الأمر يعني يحسسنا إنه قاعدين نرجع لورا، ما قاعدين نتقدم. ونتكلم بصراحة يعني لا حد يزعل مني ولا أقصد يعني شخصنة الموضوع، لكن هذا الواقع ولازم نتعلم منه ونشوفه. صح يا عمر؟ فاللي استفدناه الحين بعد الكلام وخذنا بلاك ماجيك، الحين صرنا نصور نمنتج بصيغة قوية اللي هي الرو، أو يمديك تحول الرو بروريز 444 422 444 كيو اكس، كل ذي الفلة عندك يعني يمديك تسوي فيها. عندك تصحيح الألوان، بعدين إضافة التون، بعدين نصدر. يعني لاحظ عندك 3 أشياء في حياتك تغيرت مع هذه الكاميرا. عشان تفهم الصورة صح وتعرف انت ايش قاعد تسوي، خلونا نشوف. هذا طبعا المقطع اللي بعرض عليكم آخر المحاضرة، أمس خلصناه تقريبا في ربع ساعة، يعني شغل سريع بس عشان نثبت معلومة انه الحين انت في البرزنتيشن اللي قبل شفت معلومات كثيرة، تحس انك خايف وما تقدر تدخل هذا المجال ومتردد. ترى الموضوع سهل جدا. المشكلة اننا ما نجرب، المشكلة اننا نقرأ اكثر مما نجرب. مثلا اذا دخلنا لسالفة الفلات وعالم الفلات، بتدخلون سالفة اسمها اللوت والفرق بين كاميرا وكاميرا وش يسوي. هذه اذا قريتها تحس انك خايف وتقول يا اخي مشوار ماني فاضي، بلا كاميرا سينمائية بلا كان فاضي، خليني مرتاح مع الدي اس ال ار حقتي وخليني اصدر وخلاص. المفروض انت تجرب ثم تقرأ، لان هذه المعلومات المفروض تعرفها وانت تطبق، مو قبل لا تطبق عشان ما تخاف وتوقف. مثلا الحين لو دخلنا برنامج دافنشي لازم نعرف اشياء مهمة في تصحيح الالوان. طبعا هذا السكوب هذا اذا عرفت له يمديك تصحح اي فيديو بدون ما تشوفه، لانك انت تقرأ الفيديو من هنا. وهذا الامر لو قلنا مثلا الحين بترجع البيت وبتجرب، ابيك تركز على الشغلتين هذه، خل هذه على جنب، ركز على الشغلتين هذه وبفهمك وش الموضوع بالضبط. عندك هذا من الصفر الى تقريبا 100 وشوي. الصفر هذا وش عبارة عنه؟ هذا اللون الاسود، هذه قاعدة ثابتة. اذا تبي اللون الاسود اسود لازم يكون الخط هذا على الصفر، وهذه قاعدة ثابتة. لكن الابيض ما له قاعدة ثابتة، المفروض دائما يقولون انك تخليه على 100 عشان يكون اللون الابيض صحيح عندك في الصورة، لكن على حسب اضاءتك، لانه ممكن تكون الاضاءة كلها متشكلة هنا في النص، واذا رفعته الى فوق راح تشوفها مشعة مرة. فالابيض انتو ضميرك يعني، لكن الاسود لازم يكون على الخط عشان تشوف اللون الاسود واضح. عندك الار جي بي هنا اللي هي اللون الاحمر والاخضر والازرق. طبعا لو نلاحظ متساويه في الصوره. لنفترض اني حطيت تون ازرق بتلقى هذا يرتفع الحاله وهذول ثابتين، حطيت تون اخضر احمر اي من مشتقات هذه الالوان، فانت بتعرف وش حاله صورتك بدون ما تشوف صوره الفيديو. فضروري هذا السكوب تتعلم عليه، وله دروس كثيره جدا، خصوصا في الديفنشي يعطيك يعني نتائج صحيحة ما فيها 1 2. الحين بوريكم ستايل الخام. لاحظ ستايل الخام هنا، بتلاحظ ان الصورة حقتي تقريبا مايلة للرمادي، لكن انا وش ساعدني الرمادي في الموضوع هنا؟ من اللي هذا صح؟ انت اللي كان يقول لك انت السوبرمان هنا. فهنا التفاصيل عندك الشاشات. طبعا في الدي اس ال ار بتلقى شمس في الشاشه، لكن مع البلاك ماجيك والستايل الخام حقهم راح تحصل الشاشات واضحه بهذا الوضوح. راح تحصل تدرجات الاسود والظل موجوده هنا على طول تصيدها، وراح تحصل تفاصيل البلوزه وهذه حاضره. لان في كاميرات الدي اس ال ار اذا قلبنا ال 5 دي او اي كاميرا دي اس ال ار الى بيكتشر بروفايل فلات، وللاسف تضيع الحده. لكن هذا المميز بيكتشر بروفايل حق بلاك ماجيك ان الحده تكون حاضره حتى وهي فلات. وما تصدق اذا قلت لك انك يمديك تزيد الحده او تنعمها بكل سلاسه، يعني مجرد مؤشرين وخلاص. وزي ما انتم ملاحظين هنا، شوفوا السكوب شلون تغير. اول كانت مظلمه الصوره صح؟ يوم جبنا الاضاءه زادت هنا. ولو نلاحظ الصوره اكثر الاضاءه فيها كانت في النص، فهنا شوفوا الاضاءه توزعت، واللون الاحمر هو الطاغي في الموضوع. يعني شوفوا شلون تقرون الصوره من خلال السكوب. وايضا لاحظوا ترى مو على الاسود اسود، فبالتالي تحصلون لون رمادي. فشفتوا شلون قرينا الصوره؟ يعني اول انا قبل كنت اشوف هذه الاشياء اقول يا اخي مشوار وانا فاضي اقعد اتعلم، يا الله بخلص جامعه وبجي اتعلم ذا الاشياء. لكن يوم بديت فعلا شديت حيلي ودخلت يعني دروس اونلاين وكذا، وبديت افهم الصوره صرت مرتاح. يعني بمجرد اني احط الكاميرا واوزع الاضاءه وكذا ادري انا وش بسوي، امنتج في مخي واصح الوانه في مخي، ادري انا وش ابي بالضبط. يعني اقول لكم هذا الشغل في ربع ساعه. مع نلاحظ عندك 3 أشياء زادت من المهام مع كاميرا بلاك ماجيك، لكن نفس الحكايه لو صورت ب 5 دي بياخذ نفس الوقت. لكن الفرق بين هنا وهناك ان هنا تلقى صوره قزاز تتحكم بالخلفيه وتنعمها. والحين بوريكم الموضوع. عندك هنا التحكم بالخلفيه. بلاك ماجيك ميزته في ماسكات، والماسكات هذه يبديك تحدد اي جزء من الصوره. طيب لنفترض انا شخصيه متحركه في الفيديو، يبديني احدد على نفسي بهذا الشكل واسوي فيد من هنا. طبعا انت منطقيا اذا غيرنا لون الاضاءه مع لوني بتقول بتبان على طول، لكن الفيد ذكي ومع ملف رو ما راح تحصل مشاكل، لأن البكسلات اللي في الحدود واضحة ويقراها البرنامج. فبالتالي وأنا أتحرك فيه تراكنج، نظام تراكنج يمشي مع الفيديو فريم فريم ويمشي معي. فبالتالي مي بمتعبة زي أول تمشي فريم فريم وتسوي كذا وتسوي، لا هو يحدد نقاط ويمشي معك. فبتصير عملية انك تحدد اي شيء عندك سهلة جدا. عندك قبل وبعد، لاحظ الفرق. هل في فرق واضح بين الصورتين؟ في الالوان قصدي. لا تحطوني. هو في فرق واضح، بس يمكن البروجيكتور بعدنا في فرق متأكد. لاحظ التيشيرت هنا في فرق لون. عندك الالوان اللي هنا كلها واضحة، عندك الديتيلز جوا الشاشة كلها واضحة، عندك الشارب انا زدت الحدة. فهنا الفرق. الدي اس ال ار كنا ناخذ الصورة طبعا مو بكذا يعني بهذه الدقة وكذا، لا بس تاخذها كذا جاهزة، او انك تسوي فلات. لكن اذا سويت فلات مستحيل توصل لهذه النتيجة وبهذه السرعة يعني. فبالتالي الفرق بين الكاميرات السينمائية وكاميرات دي اس ال ار انك تصور خام وبفيديو قوي تعدل بياناتها كلها بشكل سهل عشان توصل لهذه النتيجة اللي انت تبغاها، مو بالكاميرا تبغاها. وهنا الفرق. دي اس ال ار احيانا تجبرك انك تضحي في بعض التفاصيل عشانها اصلا هي ضعيفة، لكن اذا كان معك كاميرا قوية يمديك تحول الوان الصورة كلها للي تبغاه. وهذا اللي صار معي في الفيديو حق امس. طبعا هذا الفيديو نستعرضه.
طبعا زي ما تكلمت اول محاضرة، الكاميرا ما تصنع إضاءة. يعني الحين ما في إضاءة أبدا، وإحنا قاعدين نصور. راح نولع الإضاءة عشان نثبت لكم الفرق الخارق. يعني في ناس كثير تقول لازم أصور تحت إضاءة مظلمة، لازم الكاميرا تحمل ايزو، مدري ايش. كل الكاميرات تحمل ايزو، يعني كاميرات كثير بدك ترفع الايزو، لكن النتيجة أنا بس أبي أثبت لك الفرق بين إذا كان عندك إضاءة وقت تصوير أو ما عندك إضاءة. فأتوقع بكاميرات زي هذه أنك بتصور بدون ست للإضاءة. طبعا زي ما تكلمت لكم، تصوير الرو كيف تتحكم في كل بيانات الفيديو. يعني انتم شايفين الحين الصورة خام، هذه الألوان الخام. الألوان الخام شو تسوي؟ تعطيك بيانات أكثر. يعني تشوفون الظل قليل، كل شيء فاتح، ويعني تتحكم في كل تفاصيل الصورة. يعني مثلا الشاشات اللي ورا ملاحظين انها واضحة. لو اني اصور بدي اس ال ار تلقون ان في نسبة ابيض مشعة او اماكن محروقة في الصورة، ما تقدر تتحكم بالهايلايت. لكن الحين شفني بنزل الهايلايت وشوف الشاشة كيف توضح اكثر. وايضا شوف هو الصورة والعزل اللي حواليني اقدر ازيده. أبحدد نفسي بالديفينشي، ثم أبنعم الخلفية وأزود العزل، يصير نفس الإعلانات بالضبط. وما راح تحس إني قاعد يعني قاص نفسي وكذا، لأن في تراكر. إذا حددت نفسي وفصلت نفسي عن الخلفية تضغط ضغطة زر وأنا أتحرك، نفس التحديد حقي راح يتحرك معي. وبكذا بنشوف الفرق بين الفيديو السابق والفيديو الحالي بعد تصحيح الألوان. لكن بقى نقطة ثانية، أضيف التون حقي، بغير اللون. أبيه كلاسيكي، أبيه أكشن، أبيه اللي أبيه. شوفوا شلون بغيره. هذا بالمختصر. إن أول كنا نصور ثم نمنتج ثم نصدر ونقول والله هذه الألوان الصح وكذا، لأننا فرحانين بالعزل وكذا. لكن مع هذه الكاميرات أنت جيت فئة جديدة، بتصور، بتمنتج، بتصحح ألوان، بتصدر. بتتحكم بكل تفاصيل الصورة، سواء تبغى الصورة حادة ما تبغاها حادة، تبي الخلفية حادة تبيها ناعمة، اللي تبغى. وهذا بالمختصر الفرق بين هذه الكاميرات وبين الدي اس ال ار. هذا الفيديو من انتاج شركة تيلرز. خذ معنا انتاج هذا الفيديو ربع ساعة فقط باستخدام بلاك ماجيك 4K وبرنامج ديفينشي من خلال تحرير تصحيح الالوان. لا تستصعبون الامور، جرب وراح تحس انهم سهلوا علينا كثير.
كيف بس شفت الفرق؟ الله يخليك. في شيء أخير طبعا وأنا فخور فيه، ولي 9 سنوات ماشي في ذا الموضوع. قبل كم يوم فتحت موقع 35 ثانية لنشر المعرفة والتحفيز على البحث. طبعا أشكر كام فورسل رعاية قسم التصوير بالكامل، وطبعا كام فورسل شهادتي فيهم مجروحة من بداية سعودنولوجي حتى الآن وهم يدعموني، ولا قد شفت أي شروط. يعني صراحة الله يعطيهم العافية. طبعا أشكر أبوي، ترى أبوي هو أول الداعمين لي، وأول كاميرا سوني أذكرها A100 كان هو اللي جايبها لي، وأنا ماني بلم التصوير ولا بيصور أصلا. فأحلى تحية لكل
وش تتوقع موقع 35؟ احنا دائما ناخذ المعلومة من التلفزيون والكتب والراديو والصحف وغيرها، بس تخيلت انك تاخذ زبدة المعلومة بمقطع من 35 ثانية. حتى قهوتك ما بديت فيها، وهذا اللي بنسويه وانت تقدر تسويه لو راسلتنا على بريد info@35seconds.net. فبالتالي ناخذ المحتوى ونختصره ثم ننتجه ونتشارك بتحقيق مقولة العطاء أفضل وسيلة للتواصل.
شكرا لكم جميعا. أي واحد عنده فكرة برنامج نشر المعرفة، سواء سباكة، تصليح مكيفات، تقنية، تصوير، هذا هدف الموقع. مستعدين أن ننتجه بالكامل، هدف إثراء المحتوى العربي. يعطيكم العافية.
والله يا اخوان انا تعرفت على سعود امبارح، يعني امبارح اول مره اشوف سعود في حياتي. طبيعه عملي التقيت مع كثير ناس بيشتغلوا في مجال التصوير، حتى التقيت مع ناس كثير بتشوف دافينشي ريزولف وخبره امتد لاكثر من 5-6 سنين. ما حد وصل لي المعلومه بالطريقه الصح زي سعود، والله العظيم. والله ما شاء الله عليه. ترى يعني هذا فخر للشباب السعودي والشباب العرب، وهي بقول والله العظيم. فمشكورين. هلا بدنا ننتقل على الفقره اللي بعديها. زميلي لورنس راح يشرح لنا شوي عن دافينشي ريزولف بطريقه عمليه. راح نشوف السوفت وير نفسه، الانترفيس تبعته، النوافذ الموجوده، طريقه استعماله. وان شاء الله الفائده تكون للجميع موجوده ونستفيد جميعا. So Lawrence, can you start the DaVinci?
All right.
Perfect. He's on board.
Hello again. So again, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lawrence for the nth time. So,
Remember you.
okay, I hope you still remember me. Okay, we will do something different, all right? This will be the very first time that we will be doing a live demonstration of Resolve from scratch, okay? So we will do that in a while. So I'll just close this and then let's talk about Resolve. Any editors, video editors, which software are you using, sir? Adobe Premiere, EDS. How about you, sir?
Final Cut Pro.
Final Pro 7, 10?
No, 10.
Okay, you like it?
Yeah.
No, you'll love this. I'll show you something. Any avid media composer? Yeah. I always admire media composer users because I cannot understand it. But yeah, good for you guys. So, okay, I'll just turn on my ever reliable remote right here. And here we go. So again, my name is Lawrence, and today we'll be, or at this time of the hour, we'll be talking about DaVinci Resolve. All right, So here are our topics for Resolve. So first of all, we'll talk about DaVinci Resolve, all right? The DaVinci itself, the latest movies that, that were done using Resolve. And we'll also be talking about the 4 rooms, okay? This is important, the 4 rooms. And we will also be doing a live demonstration. Again, I'll be doing something different today. We'll be doing Resolve from scratch. I was listening to Saud. I don't know, but I'm agreeing. I don't know if I understood it correctly, but yeah, I think he did a very good job in the presentation. So first, DaVinci Resolve. Okay, I would like to tell you that there are 3 types of Resolve. All right, there are 3 types of Resolve. First, you have this big panel. All right, the big panel of Resolve that lets you have all the smallest control, all mapped in a control surface. All right, that's about around $30,000. All right, now not all of us can buy this. All right, but we can have a DaVinci Resolve license, which is $1,000. All right, but then again, not all of us can spare $1,000. So the third one is Resolve Lite. I was speaking to Ride yesterday, and he said that it's there. I mean, DaVinci Resolve Lite is free. It's not cracked. It's free. All right. And I just want to tell you like a couple of major differences. Number 1, you cannot output in 4K for Resolve Lite, and number 2, you can only work with 1 GPU. We'll talk about what's GPU in a while. So DaVinci Resolve is a color grading software. We all know that. Hollywood has been using it since the 1980s, and it became a Hollywood standard for color correction. But now, DaVinci Resolve is not just color grading. It's your media asset management. It's an NLE. It's a non-linear editor. I'll show you in a while how that's done. It's a color grading, of course. It's a color grading software. It's node-based. You'll see that later on. It's GPU power. It uses GPU power. What's GPU? Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere. It uses Mercury engine, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing, When you open an application to your computer, of course, you'll need a processing power from your processor. You'll need the speed of your hard drive from your hard drives. You need your memory from your RAMs. And DaVinci Resolve is using another component of your system, which is your graphic card. And that is the GPU power. GPU stands for Graphic Processing Unit. GPU. All right? It can work with OS X, Windows, and Linux. It's flexible and expandable. So especially if you're working with HP or Linux systems, you can put more GPU to make your processing or to make your system more powerful. And it can also be mobile or on set. What I'm using right now is my Mac. It's my laptop. And I'll be showing you that you can do a live on-set, mobile on-set using DaVinci Resolve on your laptop. So famous movies graded using DaVinci Resolve. Fury of Everything. Have you seen this? Fury of Everything. From Stephen Hawking, right? The story of Stephen Hawking. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Who've seen this? It's nice, right? Oh, I just want to tell you a short story. Sorry, I love talking. But, when I was in Amsterdam last year, we watched Dawn of the Planet of the Apes on an Atmos theater. Do you know what Atmos is? Wherein the speakers, you're surrounded. That's surround, right? But Atmos you still have on the ceiling. So when you're watching Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, feels like there's an ape at my back. So, and you'll feel it. And X-Men, Days of Future Past. I haven't seen it. I don't know why, but I haven't seen it. And who would ever forget Avatar, the highest grossing film of all time. This was graded using DaVinci Resolve. Simplified workflow. For non-DaVinci Resolve users, or for people who are still think that Resolve is kind of hard, here's my tip, all right? Here's how you look at it. Now, I call it simplified workflow, all right? In every production, in every project, everything starts with acquiring your media, whether it's from your memory card, from your SD card, from CFast, from compact flash, from hard drives. Everything starts with your media. Hence, you have your media page. You'll have a good look of this in a while, but remember, everything starts with your media page. Now, after getting your media, it's time to edit. Then you go to edit page. And now we're talking about the 4 rooms: media, edit, color, and deliver. And after you edit, it's time to finish it. And now it's time to color. And this is your color page. And once you're done with color correction, then you're going to deliver it. Then that's your delivery page, wherein you can export it to QuickTime, to ProRes, or to whatever codec that you want. We'll do a live demo right now. So, I know that the cameramans were having a hard time following me because I'm moving around, so now I won't be moving. So, DaVinci Resolve. All right, this is the opening. And by the way, I'm using the full license right now. I have a dongle in my system. What's happening right now is I'm logging in. Now, if you're working in a company with multiple users, multiple editors, multiple people, you can create an account for that person. And this is my account. Oops. I just took this picture a while ago. So my password, I'm logging in. And then I can see all the projects that I've done. Now, let's create a new project, a blank project. So, talking about the rooms of Resolve, this is the first room, the media room. Yeah, this is where you bring all your footage. This is where you bring all your assets, all your clips. Right now, I am saving to the most convenient part of my system, which is the desktop. Okay, I'm opening my desktop, and in my desktop, I have a folder here called sample shots. Is it clear from the backside? You can see it, right? So what I'll do is, if I open this, I can see all the footage that I have in that specific folder. And what I'll do is, I can actually drag them, all of them, I can drag them to my media pool. But I don't want to do that because I want to organize it. How do you organize? Again, for DaVinci Resolve users, you might be doing this, but I just want to reiterate that the organization of your files is a lot better in Resolve 11 and future in Resolve 12. So right now I'm adding a folder, and let's say I call this folder Building Shots. Building Shots, all right? And then in my building shots, I can see that I have some shots of buildings with a very, I don't have an I/O device here, the very mad color for white balance. So I'm just dragging it there. I'm just changing it. Then now it's hidden there. Now I want to have some cars. So I can create another folder. I call it cars or vehicles. So I have a car here. I have a car here. I have a car here, I remove this, and then I can drag this again to my cars. Again, this is just for organization purposes. Now, let's say when you are on the field, and then, of course, when you shoot, let's say you're shooting a full-length film or a commercial, you have to make sure that you are recording the files, right? That's the job of a DIT, Digital Intermediate Technicians, wherein I'll give you the SD card, and make sure you have multiple copies of it. All right? So normally what we do is we copy paste in the Finder or Windows Explorer. But now in DaVinci Resolve, what we can do is I'll just plug in my hard drive. What's happening here, all the drives that's mounted in your system will be seen here. All right? Now, if I have that footage from my folder, which is in the desktop, all I have to do is, there's a tool here called Clone Tool. All right, you're cloning it. So if I do a clone tool, I can just press this, and then I'll add this, and I have to just drag the sample shots in here, and then call whatever hard drive that's connected. You can drag it to multiple. Let's say I want to bring that inside my documents, or I want to send that directly to my Dropbox, and then you're creating multiple copies of your file. That means you're safe. That's the bottom line. And then when you clone, it will copy it. Okay, now, media asset management. Let's say you have a lot of shots. Let's say I'll go to my master here, and then I'll go to my desktop once again, and sample shots. What I'll do is I'll drag all of them. I'll drag all of these guys. I'll bring it here. Now, you have tons of files, hundreds of files, and you want to categorize them. Let's say this is, what I'll do is, I got shot and scene. I will delete this, and then I'll say this is parking. All right, that's parking, and this is also parking. Okay, now if you have 100 files in there, and you are specifically looking for the parking shot, all right, all you have to do is call it, let's say type here parking, and then that gives you the parking shots. That's media asset management for you. All right, any questions? That's what Media Room is doing. Yes, sir?
You remove the hard disk, the file is still in the backup?
It depends where it is. Yes, it should be. Well, what's happening here is it's non-destructive. If you, let's say, if you copy a file to a specific folder, it's just a copy. It's not moving it. Then you create multiple copies of the file. Now, if you send like a tag here, that's embedded to the file. That will be embedded to the file, which is seen by Resolve. So that's how they're doing it.
Excuse me, when you do the cloning,
Mm-hmm.
you'll wait for the copying?
Ah, that's a good question. Thank you for asking. So that's something that I did this morning. So if I clone it, do I have to wait? No. If I start a clone here, if I did a clone, let's do a clone. Say I want to clone this. Oops. I want to clone this, and then I'll create a session to my downloads, documents, or Dropbox. If I start clone, I can still work with my edit, with my color. So it's all happening in the background. I'll just gonna stop it because my system is, the fans are.
There is a program, DaVinci, from where it reads the files? While cloning.
Wherever you want to put it. It can be on a separate hard drive.
No, I mean, while cloning,
Mhm.
it should be linked with the directory.
No, it's copying. You're creating another copy of the file.
What file are you working on?
Any files?
The copied one or the original?
Both. So let's say you have a folder, all right? And then you have 3 hard drives. Okay, now this folder, you can copy all of this in these 3 hard drives. Then basically you have 4 copies.
And when I unplug the hard disk,
Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's okay, yeah. Because what you have in mind there is you have a copy, which is if anything happens to whatever is in here, you have a backup. So now, edit page. All right. So now this is where we are. So all the files, all the video clips are in your media page. Now it's time to send that in to your edit to begin editing. So how do we do it? Now you can see the media pool assets here. It's right here. Now what I'll do is I'll create a timeline. So if I create a timeline, create a new timeline, an empty timeline, then I have a timeline. Now all I have to do now is start creating my timeline. Let's say, oh, I want this. I want to drag it here. Now I have a timeline now. Now if I bring this here again, okay, I can actually find an in and out points. If I double click and then I scrub this through, I want to start here. I'll do a mark in, and then I'll scrub it again, and then I said I want to mark out. And then I can, you're familiar with this, right? It's the same Principal as your Final Cut or Premiere. You can do an insert, overwrite, replace, fit to fill. So it's a multi-track as well. You can do a second layer here. So that can be done. Now, yes, sir.
Is this 4K and RAW file?
I have a combination of raw and compressed here because I want to show the differences. But all of these are all in full HD since I'm just using my laptop. Another thing is, where is it? Color. I got one file from, I want to give credit to the guy because I have a footage of that color and I kind of lost it. There's a YouTube channel called Masonry Media. So I got that color palette right here. So just to quickly jump, I just want to quickly jump to edit. I mean to color grading. Are you familiar with this? Oops, sorry. Are you guys familiar with this color chart? We're using it, right? Also the gray card or the white balance card. So Resolve has a built-in support for it. How? If I go to my color page, all I have to do is, let's say I want to group this. Let's say these are all in one shot. Okay? All of these are flat images. All right? Now, what I'll do is I'll group them. I'll just right-click. I'll add this to a current group, so they're all grouped together. And then instead of editing the clip, I'm editing the whole group thing. Now, this is where the fun starts. Let's say I want to call my color chart. And what I'll do is I'll just have to follow the pattern or follow the squares. All right? If I do this, I can immediately go to my color match and hit match. And as you can see, it doesn't fully correct it, but it gives you a good baseline or a good start for your edit, for your color. And since this is in the same group, it also gives them the color, same track. So that's how helpful that color chart is. And it's natively supported in Resolve. Now, I want to talk about the difference between a raw and how simple it is or how easy it is to deal with raw and a compressed file. Let's say this is a shot. So I'll remove this, I'll turn it off. Let's say this is a bad color, white balance shot, whatever you want to call it. It's bad. It is compressed. Now, if you bring that to your color grading, to your color correction, how do you do it? Right? In Lightroom, we have that way to change the tint, right? In Resolve, I'll show you some techniques. So if I do a right click, I'll open up my scopes. This is a very friendly scopes, and I just look at the parade. Again, another trick that a friend of mine told me or taught me how to, if you're working with color wheels, begin with the X and Y axis, X and Y axis. So now when you look at the video, it looks greenish, yellowish. So that's the highlight. So what I'll do is I'll just get it away from it, and then I'll add blue to it. All right? So now I'm adding blue to the picture. And when I look at my waveform in here, my blacks are all crushed. So I'll just lift it up a bit, put some shadow details in it, and then bring it back. Just look at it. And now, if you look at it, there's a huge difference that we are. And again, this is inside Resolve. And as you notice, I just used one node. There's nothing special in there yet. That's compressed. You have to know the techniques on how to do it. But what if something happened, you forgot to change the white balance of your camera and it's so blue. But the cool thing is you shot it in RAW. Now, the DaVinci Resolve for color grading comes with here, camera RAW setting. I don't know if you can see it, but it's camera RAW setting. So what it does is it gives you the opportunity to be the camera. You know, you change everything like how a camera would change it. First of all, that shot was, let's just go to clip, and then it was shot, I intendedly shot it like that. So the white balance is as shot, but basically that should be what? Should be a daylight or cloudy shade. Say daylight. Now if I click this, it immediately changed it. And now I'm dealing with raw. I'm dealing with the raw file. I haven't changed anything yet. I just changed the raw metadata, the raw settings of the file. Now, if I want to improve this further, I want to right click, show scopes. My scopes here, you know, the blue is right there. I can just drag the blue higher. You know, I'm dragging it, and then put some details on it, and then, yeah. So now, from your very awful white balance shot, from a very bad white balance shot like that, you're now working with a proper shot like this. And all of that, it's because I shot that in RAW. And that's easy. Any questions? Now, I know the feeling that I used to work with Media Composer, no, not Media Composer, Adobe Premiere before, and you know, I know that it's not easy to really shift from one editing software to the next, or Final Cut X, but what I'm saying is Resolve has a built-in round trip option. Have you heard of it? Round trip. So you still edit in your Premiere, save it as an XML, and then take the XML back in Resolve so you can grade it. We all know for a fact that, you know, Adobe three-way color correction may not be enough for you, so you want more power. And again, even if you're using DaVinci Resolve Lite, which I recommend that you download when you get home, that can be done. You know, that thing can be done. Here's another shot. It's a shot from inside the factory, and since this was part of a group, I can just reset the nodes because I don't like the grade. So what I'll do is I'll remove this from the group. Okay, and then I'm back to where I was. So it's a flat, unsaturated, unflattering image. So first, you know, as any colorist would do, no matter how fancy they work, the first thing that they're gonna do is correct the shot. Okay, and as you can see, I'm sorry if I'm being too technical right now, but if you guys want to stop me, you can just do that. But I want to look always on my parade. Even in Lightroom, I always look at the parade. A lot of people are looking at histogram. It's okay. I mean, but parade always gives me, if I want to balance a shot, parade will always give you a more accurate interpretation of your video or of your image. This is your zero. This is your black level. Your idea is to bring them down, all right? And how do you bring them down? Simple. You go to your color wheels, and then that's your shadows, that's your lift. Then you can just bring them right here. Now, of course, you need to, you know, rev up your highlights. So I'll pull my highlights right here, and I'll add a little saturation right here. And that's my base point. So now, if I create a new node, all right? So that's done. That's for my first node. I'll create a new node. Let's say, who likes orange? No one, right? So let's change the color of the truck. Let's call it. Let's say I'm going to call my qualifier right here, and I'm gonna pick the color, and then I'm gonna isolate it. So what I'm doing now is I'm isolating the color of the truck, of that mini truck. Now, as you notice, there are other orange in the image. So we have to isolate it. So how do you isolate it? But before that, I would like to put some denoising in here. I'm just doing this very quick, but of course, if you have time, you can always have spend some time on it. And then that truck is moving. So what I'll do is, I'll call my power window. Power window lets you just choose that specific part of your image. It doesn't care about other oranges in the room, but what it does is it selects that unit. Now, if I go to my tracking, all I have to do is play that, and you can see that it tracks it. It follows it, okay? So if you are tracking, let's say, a shirt, your shirt, and you're running, okay? And you want to change the color of the shirt, then you have to track it. Now, what I'll do is, I'll turn this off, and then I want to see how will it do. So if I change the hue, so now from orange, I turned it into violet. And that's how easy that is. So if I just play this once again, now from orange, I turned the lovely thing to purple. So that's how you do it. Another thing, this. Who doesn't like blue clouds or blue sky? For blue sky, I have another tool here, which is the gradient tool. So all I have to do is, before that, I have to, somehow put some color in it. And then, yeah, that's my initial grade. And then I'll do an Alt-S, create a new serial node. And then I will have this right here. So if you notice, if I turn this off, it only selects the gradient, all right? It only selects that window. So I can pull this down to have more effect on the cloud. So if I remove this, and I remove this, I can now apply color to the cloud. So I'm just exaggerating it, but you can always refine it if you want. So that's how you do it. And then after that, once everything is done, you can just send it back to Final Cut or Adobe Premiere or Media Composer. There's a round trip session on it. Or you can just render it as a video. It can be H.264 or ProRes. For example, MBC Dubai, they're accepting ProRes as their acquisition material. And that's how Resolve is. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Simple.
Yes, sir.
Which version came with the Blackmagic products?
Good question. This is the thing. If you purchased Blackmagic Design camera 3 years ago and you get DaVinci Resolve 8, even now that DaVinci Resolve 12 is arriving, you can download it for free. It uses the same license. So even DaVinci Resolve 8 users, 9 users, 10, 11 users, once 12 is released, you can still use your dongle.
And the light version is free?
Light version is free. Again, I beg, download the free version. Stop cracks. I mean, it's and it's free. You don't feel guilty about it. So,
Difference between the light version and the full.
okay, there are numerous. Number one, you cannot do 3D. No one does. You cannot do 4K. You cannot output 4K. No one does. And you cannot add more graphic card to your system. So you can only use one GPU. Yeah, which is more than enough. I'm using one GPU. Any questions? I think it's prayer time, so I'll see you again in a while. Thank you. Yes, sir. I just want to tell you something. During the break, I had the chance to talk to young guys and veterans. So, and I want to tell you that it was a great and good experience for me. And yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. So yeah, I just want to, share the excitement. All of us in Blackmagic Design, in MediaCast, in Camp4Cell, we're excited about the new products that's coming soon. Any one of you visited NAV in Las Vegas last month? Any Las Vegas guys? No. All right, so this is what we announced last month. This is not all, but this is one of those. These are the exciting ones. Forget about the boring ones. So first, guess what? Ursa Mini. Ouch. So yeah, it's an Ursa Mini. So this is your next generation Ursa. Again, that's how small it is. Imagine that to that. All right. It's big features packed in a smaller form factor. It's 4.6K. Can do 60 frames per second on that, and it's 15 stops of dynamic range. All right. Here are the flavors. You have your EF-PL 4Ks, and you have EF-PL 4.6K. That's your Ursa Mini. If you don't think that's exciting enough, this is the next one. This is a micro cinema camera. Micro cinema camera. Any GoPro users? I use GoPro as well. Micro cinema camera. So it's micro cinema. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's a micro cinema camera, and it's a Super 16 sensor, full HD sensor. It's definitely higher than what a GoPro is. And it gives you 13 stops of dynamic range. And that's how small it is. All right? That's coming up. And it's an MFT mount, so you can use a pancake lens, a small pancake lens, 14 mil, even a 45 mil. This is a lens from Voigtlander, the same lens that I have with our pocket, with my pocket. So that's how it is. It's powered by Canon LP6 batteries. You can use your batteries. And that's how small it is. And of course, there's no screen in it because it's too small. So you can connect it to another new product of Blackmagic design called Video Assist. You've seen that, right? The small HD monitor. It's basically the same thing. But what's good about this is if your Canon or if your camera is recording H.264 and you want to record in ProRes, this guy right here can record in ProRes. So that's how small it is, Video Assist. So in that system, there's an SD card. Plug in an SD card, and that becomes your recorder at the same time your Video Assist monitor.
Can you shoot 4K?
No, that's only Full HD.
4K, can you Full HD?
If you can convert, if you can get a down converted output from your camera. In our camera, for example, Ursa, there's an SDI monitor out. So that's a Full HD. Now, this gives you a ProRes recording, and it gives you an amazing display. DaVinci Resolve 12. We're just getting started with 11 a while ago. Now we have Resolve 12. And again, if you're handling a license of Resolve 8, Resolve 12, you can get it for free. All you have to do is download it. All right? New editing features. All right, now DaVinci Resolve 12 shows you a new interface. All right? It does multicam editing. At last, it does multicam editing. It can give you nesting timelines, and there's improved trimming for your edit. You can also have on-screen control for motion graphics, customizable transitions. Any Pro Tools user, aside from my wife who's watching us right now. So my wife is a Pro Tools user for 16 years. Oh, sir, you're full spectrum, huh? But yeah, Pro Tools user for audio editors. You can export your Pro Tools or your audio to Pro Tools and then edit it in Pro Tools. If you don't want to do that, you can have support for VST and AU plugins. Again, that's all available in Resolve 12. What else? Whew. You remember this, the media asset management a while ago. They improved it. They improved the metadata filtering. So if you want to filter, let's say, a cameraman or time of day, let's say sunset on 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you can do that. There's improved metadata filtering. And remember the orange thing that we did a while ago? there has an improved and enhanced 3D tracker inside Resolve 12. So again, what a better way to start learning Resolve 11 now? Possibly next couple of weeks or months, we can have Resolve 12. How many minutes do I have? Okay, all right. I want to share you something. We might not have time to play with this. Half an hour, okay. Okay. He wants me to stop. Why? Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for staying. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying it. Ultra HD. I want to talk about Ultra HD. Now, this has been my fifth leg. So we started the show in Dubai, then we went to Kuwait, we went to Lebanon, we went to Iran, and then now here in Saudi Arabia. And always the first question is, are we really doing 4K? Ultra HD? Are we really investing to 4K? Now, well, what is Ultra HD? Ultra HD, just to start, it's an Ultra HD, it's higher than HD in terms of resolution. And I remember the time, okay, now we'll go back. So I remember the time when I was younger, if you want to watch a 6 o'clock news, you have to be home by 6 o'clock and sit in front of the TV, sit on your couch and watch a 6 o'clock news. But now things have changed. We've been talking to 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids here that, it changed from linear television. Now it becomes non-linear. Whenever you have time, you can watch your news on your iPad, on your computer, and that's called non-linear television. And that's the trend. That's what's happening. Now, what is Ultra HD? This is your SD 10 years ago. Then, this is what we are right now, Full HD, 1080, the resolution. Now, this is Ultra HD, 4K. All right? That's how many pixels are there in Ultra HD. Now, in our region, it's not that famous yet, but when you look at the Western countries, US, they have 4K video walls. The video projection started with 4K. And then there are 4K movie theaters. It's been around. Sony Entertainment Network. You can do an unlimited 4K download service. Are you guys familiar with Netflix? Netflix in the US. My nephew is watching 4K on his iPad through Netflix. And this is a thing. A Samsung 55-inch Ultra HD television right now is about $1,500. On 2013, it was costing around $4,000. When you go to Dubai, there's DSF every January wherein they're encouraging everyone to spend their money. You'll see a lot of deals for Ultra HD TV. Wimbledon, tennis. BBC broadcasted the Wimbledon in Ultra HD, 4K. World Cup. Have you ever, thought about how crisp the details, the video is when you watch World Cup last time in Brazil? The time when they kicked Neymar at the back? You felt that, right? Because it's shot in 4K. Tokyo 2020. Believe it or not, the Japanese out there are thinking to broadcast Tokyo 2020 Olympics in 8K. Yeah, 8K. Question is, when will Ultra HD arrive? It's here now. Yeah, that faces. I get that a lot. Seriously? Yeah, I think it was in Belgium. This guy's created like a tuk-tuk van. No, Obi tuk-tuk, whatever you want to call it. That's a coffee, when you go to Europe, you have those coffee Yeah, that's yeah. They did it, and amazingly, they've done it. Okay, I can see, I can sense some. I can sense some. How would you travel and do a show in Riyadh at 55 degrees Celsius on this? I know, right? You cannot. Even in Dubai, you cannot do that. Even at 40, with all that humidity, you cannot. But this was in Europe, and this is just to show you. And if you want to, you know, search Google later on. In Japan, they did a motorcycle with this. Because this, again, these are very lightweight system. It gets packed in that, and it's very easy to bring. Now, that's what you see there. You have HyperDex in there. You have your switcher, and then you have the whole crew working on it. I have a question. How much do you think that is? Whoever gets it right will get... No, we'll get a chandelier. How much do you think that is, including the vehicle? 10,000 US? Oh, that's too low. Including the car, yeah. Well, no, that's too small. This rack, how much is this rack? About 10,000, yeah, this rack. But yeah, this OB setup is costing $33,000, including the, we call that the reinforcements and all the, and this is the star of the show. You know, when you go to IBC, they're looking at it, and I don't know, yeah, they're showing it, including the laptop, the panel, and all that. So yeah, I mean, with these small items right here, you can get a lot of things. You can do a lot of things. Any guy from Live AV? Live AV? Live AV? Live AV? And of course, you guys are in Live AV. So in Live AV, in switching, this is the concept. You have your video sources. You have your cameras right there. Well, they're using Sony, but yeah. So everything goes to a switcher. But in case they're using Sony, so that's a switcher. Should change this. So yeah, so everything goes to a switcher, and then you get one output that goes to our streaming right now, and that goes for delivery. That's wherever you go, no matter how much they sell you those things, this is the setup. Now, in our setup right now, using our Blackmagic, we don't have this, the HD, because we're talking 4K, but we're talking about Ultra HD. This is a 4K studio camera. 2160p 24 right now, we're running at 2160p 24. And what will happen to their investments? Say they have all these 4K camera, full HD cameras. Can that fit into a 4K broadcast? Yes. All they have to do is send that to a Terranex Express. This is your Terranex Express. That's a multi-format converter. Are you guys familiar with, what's that again? Okay, I'll go. Lockheed Martin. Are you guys familiar with Lockheed Martin? Yeah? Missiles, aviation, yeah? These guys created Terranex Express. Before Blackmagic acquired it, a full Terranex Express that time will cost you around $100,000. Now we're just selling it for what? Guess what? $1,395? Yeah, and you're taking all the intellectual property of that. That's something. That's specifically made for military. And now you're using it for broadcast. So this actually converts your HD to 4K. All right? HyperDeck Studio Pro 4K. So this is our 4K material. All right? This is playing on an SSD drive. All right? So what's happening here is I have a file here, and I can play it. It's a Canon in 5D. Canon in D. So it's kind of nice. So that's a 4K player. All right? And then the Ultra HD output goes to a switcher, or sorry, to a video hub. So you can route it. And of course, the output goes to an Atom 4K, and that goes back to video hub. Then there's your Smart View 4K, Smart View Duo, Smart Scope Duo. And that goes to another monitor if you have a Smart View. Oh, by the way, for all of you guys who wants to have a 4K monitor at home but looks technical, we have a Smart View 4K. That's a full broadcast monitor, by the way. So, no, it is. It is, yeah. About 2 hours ago. Yeah, but yeah, it was released months ago. You have a 1ME panel, and there should be a laptop connected to it because you can integrate your Photoshop and send that as your graphics, right? I love Sony, really. I love Sony, but no, it's just joking. So yeah, so what's happening here? You have your Photoshop connected to the system, and then all your graphics will be coming from Photoshop. And all of them they're talking via network. They're talking to a 1G network. That's make it fast. That's fast processing for you. That's fast response for you, and that's it. All right. Any questions? Now for the Smart View 4K, I've seen some people playing around with it a while ago when we were on break. But just so you know, this is an Ultra HD 10-bit 422 SDI and fiber. What does that mean? You can use an SDI connection, or you can use a fiber. So if you have a fiber cable, and a fiber cable can run for up to 25 miles on a single cable, and you are transmitting 4K. Imagine that. A full HD cable will only run for 100 meters. And that's if you're talking to a Belden high quality, high grade cable. At the back of it, you'll see a large 10-inch viewfinder. And then there's an integrated talkback and tally. They don't have it. But yeah, so there's an integrated talkback and tally wherein you just have to connect your headphones to it, and that becomes your tally and talkback. MFT lens mount. We'll talk about this later on. And yeah, there's a 4-hour internal battery. I have to be honest, we tried it. It's 3.5, 340, but still close to 4. So yeah, it runs on internal battery. There's a camera color correction embedded into the software. And this, are you familiar with this? It uses DaVinci Resolve algorithm. So you're incorporating your DaVinci Resolve skills into your live production. And when you look at the sides of it, again, it uses standard connection. You have your SDI, you have your XLRs, and you have your fiber optic connection in here. And again, easily you can tell this that this is the world's most customizable studio camera. You can put a shotgun mic in it. You can use a 4/3 lens and a micro 4/3 lens mount adapter. You can put a teleprompter to it. It supports virtually any lens. And again, micro 4/3. What's the benefit of micro 4/3? First, yes, and it's the most adaptable and flexible lens out there. You can easily get an adapter. And then you can use an EF mount or a PL mount or a hybrid PL, even a B4 mount lens for broadcast guys. That B4 mount lens, you can use it. Use of high quality aviation headsets. So even an iPhone thing, the headphones, you can use it. LANC support, so you can zoom in, zoom out smoothly. It's a standard LANC. There's a phantom power in the microphone inputs. There's camera support if you want. You can add a teleprompter to it. It fits to a teleprompter. And there's, if you want to record, there's a provision for external recorder. and external batteries as well. And it's best suited for broadcast studios. Even if you call it a studio camera, it can also be an OB, outside broadcast. It can be in a conference coverage, a government coverage, house of worship, education. And I just want to share because when, in Dubai, American School of Dubai, they have a large studio with Blackmagic cameras, Blackmagic switcher, and the operators are students. Middle school and high school students, And I was that age, I don't know. I don't even have a phone back then. So, but these kids are operating broadcast equipment. Then you also have that audio monitor right here, wherein you can use it as an RCA monitor or an XLR or even an SDI embedded. And what's so special about SDI embedded? This guy can support up to 16 channels of audio on a single cable. Terranex Express. This is my favorite product really for Blackmagic design because again, you are looking at high broadcast quality conversion algorithm that's created for military purposes by Lockheed Martin, and they spent more than 100 million in terms of intellectual property for it. Now this easily converts, believe it or not, SD, the smallest resolution, to Ultra HD. Again, the guys from Camp4Cell, they have it as a demo unit. You can try it out if you have something, an analog or an SD material. We can play it out and then convert it. And I'm pretty confident that you'll be happy about it. It uses 10-bit color bit depth in its conversion. And it supports up to 12G SDI. So again, that's being future-proofing. You can support up to 2160p 60. That's huge. HyperDeck Studio 4K, Pro 4K. So this is a VTR deck. So for live AV, you used to have that recorders, right? It's the same. Oh, they have it. They're using it. So this is an SSD recorder and a player. And as you notice, there are 2 slots. The 2 slots stands for if one slot gets filled up, it automatically transfers to the other one without missing a frame. It supports professional codecs. Again, uncompressed 10-bit, Avid DNX HD, ProRes 422, LT, HQ, proxy, all of that is supported. Oh yeah, it's there. It uses familiar VTR controls, transport controls, play, stop, record, forward, step backward. It's all there. It's familiar VTR controls. And it uses, again, that's what I'm really proud of Blackmagic because they're using professional and standard AV connections. There is no specific or specialized called Blackmagic cable. You haven't heard of that, right? It uses professional AV connections. And it uses SSD. Now, the lovely thing out there, the monitor, is your SmartScope Duo 4K. This or that is a 4K monitor and a 4K waveform and scopes monitoring. So it can monitor audio, 16 channels of audio. It can be a video monitoring, by the way, forgot. Can be a parade monitor, my favorite scope. Can be a waveform monitoring. It can be vector scope, and it can be histogram. All, and then someone asked me a while ago, why are there no buttons in there? How do you change it? So you change it via the software. And then SmartView 4K. So yeah, SmartView 4K is released now. It's out now. You can talk to Ride after the show to place your orders. So SmartView 4K is the world's first full 4K resolution monitor, broadcast monitor. And what's so special about this? This is one of the very few monitors with an optical input. So you can run an optical signal 25 kilometers or 25 miles. So yeah, there's an optical input, there's SDI in and out, loop out, and, oops, and that supports up to Ultra HD 4K. Okay, we're almost done. My phone stops working. So, oops. And then it comes with broadcast features. Anyone from broadcast industry? Okay, you love this. A monitor that gives you an HV delay, a frame guide, LUT. Anyone's familiar with LUT? Lookup tables. For those who don't, who's using Instagram? You can think of it like that, you know, a filter, an Instagram filter, an LUT. It's like a pre-made filter calculations. You can load that. And a blue only. Again, this is only available in full broadcast, monitors. Where will it fit? Broadcast trucks, flyaway kits like that, newsroom, broadcast monitoring. And you have video hubs as well. So again, for live events, this might be very useful, especially if you're working with different video walls and you want to distribute it. We have a 12 by 12, 20 by 20, and 40 by 40. And again, these are your unique features. One of the unique features that you will truly love is you can mix and match. You can have an NTSC or a PAL and an SD and an HD and an Ultra HD all in one router, and it will mix it. And it's controllable via iPad, which is good. So if you are in a big concert hall, there's a video wall out there, you can walk, you can just select from your iPad, and then that changes quickly. Again, it's network connectivity, that's why it's a lot easier. And any developers, any program software developers, if you are, and if you know someone, they can create their own software for the system. Blackmagic is pretty open. They give out the SDK, create your own, and then earn from it. Any questions? All right, 5 more minutes. So this is a live demo. So as I told you, I was a broadcast guy. I used to be a cameraman. I used to be a technical switcher, technical director. I also clean this stuff. You know, in the Philippines, I love working with these guys. So this is your system. The brain or the heart of the system will always be the switcher. All right. This switcher comes with a built-in multi-viewer, like what they have there. So there's a built-in multi-viewer that's connected via HDMI. So you can use a regular monitor, and you don't need to get a broadcast monitor, the expensive broadcast monitors. Basically, for those who are not familiar with switching, basically you're just switching between your inputs, and whatever you have in your program, that's what your viewers see at home. Now, if I select camera number 5, I'll just play this. Play. So now I have camera 5. Again, these are 4K materials. And where's our camera? Oops. Now, don't have battery. Now what we have here in our setup would be a 4K recorder and a 4K camera, which is here. And that's a 4K camera for you. And now, okay, let's just say no one will broadcast in 4K. No one would want to do it in 4K. It's okay. You know, if you're using the system and if you're still in that full HD mode, there's a down converted output that is a full HD. So everything is in 4K. All your sources are in 4K. You're getting great pictures, crisp pictures, and then you down convert it in the end. All of that is happening in one system. So now I'm switching between two systems, right? Two sources right here. I can use my T-bar. So I can switch from one to another. I can have some effects that I can use. All of that is seen from the system. Now, remember what I told you about graphics. If you have graphics coming from your media player, You have media player right there. I can easily shift and then play that, use that as a source. Again, that's just a JPEG photo that I sent to the system. And yeah, this is basically it. Again, if you have Photoshop connected to the system, that can run as well. You don't need to get an expensive graphics system because, again, Photoshop, everybody has Photoshop, whether it's, again, crack or original, everybody has it. And you can use it for your live production. Again, it was a pleasure talking to you guys. I know it's late. I appreciate you guys staying over. And again, if you have any questions, if you want specific, if you want to get in touch with me, you can get in touch. My details are there a while ago, or through Ride or Cam4Cell. Thank you. It's my first time in Ride. It's been a good thing. It's been a good time, and thank you all.